Hello, it's Philip Cargon. Welcome to Tea with the Druid 98. It's lovely to see you. We've changed the time in the UK, and so some people may not be arriving yet, but do say you're here, say where you come from. It'd be lovely to hear from you, and lovely for me to know. Daniel, hi from Germany. Lovely to know that the sound is working. Hello, everybody from France, from Marianne. Fantastic, sophrologue, fabulous. Good, how lovely to see you. Well, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to Kerry and Emma for doing the last Tea with the Druid sessions while I was away. It was just, they were wonderful. It was wonderful to hear Emma's story and meditation, and wonderful to hear Kerry talking in her meditation as well. Beautiful. So lots of people piling in from Ardnamurchan in Scotland, and Aotearoa Adi from New Zealand, and Lauren from South Africa, Colorado, Vashon Island, which I think is in the States, if I'm not mistaken, Michigan. Great, great, lovely to see you. So welcome to everybody. So what I wanted, if you hear some bangs and crashes, don't worry, there isn't a riot going on outside. I live in Lewis, which is a town famous for its festivities at Guy Fawkes. And tomorrow the town will be full of people and they'll be banging and crashing. If I was doing this broadcast tomorrow, you wouldn't be able to hear me. There's fireworks going off everywhere, huge bonfires around the town. But some people can't wait till tomorrow, so they're letting them off already. They're letting fireworks off already. And of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the time of Samhain, the time where autumn and winter are starting to meet, a liminal time. And in the Druid and Celtic traditional, liminal times are really important. So you have these four Celtic fire festivals, as they're called, of Samhain and Imbolc and Lunasa and Beltane, Bealtaine, and they are where the seasons transition. And so the leaves are turning golden outside. It feels autumnal, and we're just starting to get a hint that winter is on its way, with some strong storms actually over the weekend. And there's a very interesting feature about Samhain that I'd like to explore with you today, which is its relationship to time. There's this idea in Samhain that it celebrates, there are lots of people piling in. Great to see Janet from Lincolnshire, Julie from Windsor, hello, and Cassandra from Switzerland, hi. There's this special way in which Samhain gives us an opportunity to experience no time, a dissolution of time. And that is marked by some opening words that we use in rituals that I'm going to share with you this evening. They're just so lovely, I think. And the Samhain ceremony that we do in the order is framed in this way. It starts off with an older person and a younger person. So this idea of age and youth. And they're sitting by the fire. When we do it in our house, we have a log fire burning. And we have the oldest person sitting there and the youngest person, and they have a conversation. And in this conversation, the old person talks about how it is a time of no time. And for 3 days, it will be a time of no time. So, of course, you notice straight away the paradox that the time of no time is being defined. And that points to the mystery of being, of course, because we are beings in time, but also in a profound way out of time. And that is such a powerful key in, I think, our understanding, is if we can really connect to the timeless part of ourselves, connect to the level of reality that exists outside of linear time, then we are touching into, if you like, the source, or perhaps we could say another level of consciousness, another level of reality that is healing, that is redemptive. And by redemptive, I mean saving. And by saving, I mean this. When you look at so many problems, time is the problem. If all of us are going to die, if we've received a terminal diagnosis, then time is very much present to us. We are aware of time and its passing and of transience. And with climate change and all the threats to the environment, we are aware of that time is running out. People talk about time is running out. The time has come for us to address these problems. There has never been a time like this on this planet, and so on. There is no time left, and so on. So when I say redemptive, I mean, what I mean by that is that if you go to the level beyond time, a whole other reality pervades. And this isn't a denial of the reality of linear time, of the experience of linear time, because things do happen. You see a seed is planted in the ground, it grows, it flowers, it fruits, and it dies. And that is real. And yet, somehow, there's this other level of experience which tells us that that's only one plane, one reality, and that there are other realities. And so in Samhain, what happens is in the cycle of festivals around the year, it's as if at Samhain, a doorway is opened between these two levels of the timeless and the time-bound. So in a way, it's unique in that sense. It's why it's one of the most powerful ceremonies, I think. It's one of my favorite ceremonies because of that doorway that it opens. And because it opens that doorway, it's also a time that we recognize and salute and greet and send our love to those who have died, those who've gone out of the time-bound world into this other reality, onto this other plane. And so what we do in the Samhain ceremony in the Druid tradition is we create a ceremony where we create a timeless moment. The heart of the ceremony is when we enter the timeless world. And it's talked about as 3 days and 3 nights. And of course, if one had the opportunity, it would be quite wonderful to do a 3-day, 3-night retreat where one entered with ritual and meditation and ceremony this timeless world very consciously for 3 days. But we sort of collapse those 3 days and 3 nights of timelessness into the central part of the ceremony. And in that, we also greet those who've gone before us. So what I thought I'd like to do for this evening is to read you the words of that the opening of the ceremony, and then I've lit a candle. You can see the candle here that I've lit, and in Samhain, we often, the ceremony is done in a dimly lit place, and in fact we blow all the candles out at a certain time and open a window or a door to greet the spirits. We might be outside, we greet the spirits outside, and so I'm going to do this, and it's entirely up to you. You can either kind of join in with me if you feel like it, just watch and listen. But here's how it goes. We if you can imagine the scene of a fireplace. Imagine a fire burning, and an old woman sitting by the fire, and a young child sitting across from her, looking at her. And The dialogue in the ceremonies that we use is much, much longer. This is actually an abridged version that I'm going to read to you. The hearth fire burns brightly on this night, and we share in its warmth. But the nights of Samhain are drawing in time. The nights of Samhain are drawing in time. The mists of this world rise, and through them we feel the other world closer. The old year is dying away, and the dark months approach. And she's still speaking to the young boy. At Samhain, the invisible wall which time alone raises between the span of the living and the realm of the dead is abolished, whilst 3 times the sun, the eye of the world, throws his brilliant glance from east to west, whilst 3 times darkness comes again over our lands. Then and then alone time is reborn. The invisible wall is raised anew, and then alone begins the new time. During these days of no time, we welcome and honor those who have gone before us. We ask for their aid and counsel. We remember them with our love, and we pray for their lives and journeys in the great unknown. May each of us guard carefully within our hearts this ceremony of the ancestors. And so in the full version of the ceremony, the young one asks questions, the Mabon asks questions of the old one, and the old one replies along these lines and talks about how 3 times the sun, the eye of the world, throws his brilliant glance from east to west, whilst 3 times darkness comes again over our lands. Then and then alone time is reborn. The invisible wall is raised anew, and then alone begins the new time. And the invisible wall there, that's the idea that, we can't actually function in the world if we're continuously aware of the other world. It would be just impossible. If we were in touch with spirits from the other world all the time, we wouldn't be able to function in an everyday sense. So there's this idea of the invisible wall that normally keeps a separation, but that you create a special time where for 3 days you can commune and so on, or symbolically for 3 days. And in this particular experience we're having together, it's just a few minutes together. So we've entered this space where, I'll read it again. During these days of no time, we welcome and honor those who have gone before us. We ask for their aid and counsel. We remember them with our love. We pray for their lives and journeys in the great unknown. And so I'm going to hold up this candle now, and I'm going to remember those people who have died recently, who I have known. And when we're in a circle together, we'll often say their names softly and quietly out loud, because in the magical tradition there's an understanding that names are significant and powerful, and they connect us to our souls. And so I think about those who have died recently, and I send them my love. And if you want to do the same thing, of course you can do too as well. And I say softly their names: Julia, Marielle, Jay. And I send my love And I say a prayer that we use these in this prayer in Druid funerals, but also on cards that we send to people, to families, when someone has died. Dear departed one, dear departed ones, may your journey to the Isles of the Blessed, to the fields of bliss, to the land of freedom and splendor, be swift and sure. May the light be your guide on the journey. May the blessings of the spirits of North and South, East and West be with you. May the blessings of the Lord and Lady of the animals and the woods, the mountains and the streams be with you. May the blessings of the gods be with you. By the beauty of the fields, the woods and the sea, by the splendor that is set upon all that is, we send you, dear departed ones, our love and blessings. And in the ceremony, when we do a ceremony, we share a feast of honey and salt and bread and wine. And we share this feast by eating these ritual offerings ourselves, and by casting them also into the fire, so that as the wine and the salt and the honey and the bread is thrown into the fire, little puffs of smoke come up from the fire, and the departed ones can share in the feast too. And then we thank the departed ones. We feel their love for us. We feel that connection. And then we say goodbye to them. Fare thee well. And we close our ceremony. We complete it. And so to finish our experience tonight, I would say a blessing on the land, a blessing on our lives, a blessing on the lives of all those who have departed before us into the great unknown, a blessing on our lives in time now and in the timeless world too. And let me see some of the comments that have come in. Isalinda is saying that in their grove in Sintra in Portugal, they had a Samhain ceremony, and it was absolutely magical and strong. Sintra is the most beautiful spot, just up in the mountains, about an hour out of Lisbon. And the Orders group there has a wonderful temple that they have built in a valley, and you walk through tangerine trees and orange trees down into this green valley, and so I can imagine, Isalinda, where you had your ceremony. I'm going to blow this candle out. I was in a house yesterday. What's today? Monday. Yesterday, where a candle had been left burning all night, and I actually burnt my hand trying to put it out because the wax melted right down, and the flames were huge. So I'm going to finish our experience by blowing the candle out. There. Blessings and love to you. And Maria Sophia Lundgren says, this is my first time here. It's wonderful to meet you all. Hello, Maria. That's great. Fantastic. So lots of lovely comments. I'm going to make some tea and come back and read your comments. So I hope you've had a lovely Samhain. And just if you're thinking in terms of dates, Samhain is traditionally held between 31st of October and the 2nd of November, those sort of 3 days. But the festivals of Samhain and Beltane and Imbolc and Lunasa are not fixed. Solstices and equinoxes are specific points that are astronomical events that can be calculated to the minute. But these other 4 festivals are not astronomical events. They're from what's called the pastoral calendar. And so there's a whole period that we're in the Samhain period now, if you like, and how long you feel it lasts really will depend upon you and your life and your landscape as well, and the weather and what the weather's doing and the season and so on. So even though it's November the 4th, still doing little Samhain ceremony is absolutely fine. So thank you so much for being here and for joining together. And it's lovely to feel you all somehow, the fact that we're all separated all the way around the earth, right the way down to New Zealand and across to Brazil and up to Iceland and so on. Nevertheless, in some way we're together, and it's exactly that same paradox that I talked about, that we live in time and out of time, and we live in specific areas of space, but also outside of the normal spatial considerations as well. This is the great mystery of being a human being, the wonder really of it, the wonder of it. So have a good evening, much love, many blessings, and see you again next week. Bye.